Hi, folks. This is Rick Doc Walker, the DOC.
This is John Kime, and you're listening to the Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted.
What's going on, Rally? How you doing, man?
Hey, Ted, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Before we start this show off, I want to give a moment of silence to Chief Zee. With him, this is Memorial Day. He passed away on this day. So just a couple of seconds to pay respect to Chief Zee. Thank you, man. Doing good, and I'm glad that we are one day away from probably the biggest news besides the Super Bowls in Washington Redskin Commanders football team history, man. How you doing?
I'd say you caught me off guard with the whole Chief thing, and wish you would have gave me a heads up because I'm trying not to lose it right now. 7 years ago, we lost him, and he was, a good friend, and still miss him. And his 7 years today.
Yeah.
You and I were there next to Chief in his casket. And I remember hanging out with the family, and I actually just texted Derek and Felicia, Chief's kids, just a little bit ago, saying that I wish that he could still be here with us to celebrate Dan selling the team. But one good thing Dan did do during his 24-year terror of this fan base was he paid for Chief's funeral. And I was there when they cut the check and when we negotiated everything. It was all taken care of. And I do appreciate and thank him for that. But man, today, other than what we just talked about, it feels like Christmas Eve, if that makes sense. It feels like I'm a kid and there are so many presents sitting underneath that tree that I just can't wait to unwrap and see what's going to happen. And we know what this present is. I just know that I am not going to get any sleep tonight knowing what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know that on Thursday, I'm not going to get any sleep because I'm going to be celebrating, much like all of our listeners in the DMV. And man, I am just damn glad that Don't Sleep Energy joined us last week, because best believe I'm going to be chugging some of that tomorrow morning, because I got a hit with Fox 5 bright and early to talk about this. And there is zero chance I'm going to pass out tonight because I'm just hyped, man. I'm so amped with everything going on with the sale of this thing.
Bro, so you mentioned this is like Christmas Eve, and we all know what our gift is. So basically, I'm with you on that. And let's face it, as kids, we peeked in our parents' closets, underneath their beds, in the garage, and lo and behold, there that shiny bicycle was. So we know we're getting a bicycle. But here is the big thing about this. What goes along with a bicycle? Nowadays, you need a helmet, you need some shoes, you need some clothing. So I'm looking forward to opening up and seeing those gifts, because we know the sale is there. What exactly are they gonna bring with them for those secondary and third gifts? You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking forward to. And by the way, by the way, not to cut you off, but so I'm with you as well. Don't Sleep energy drink, and I use the 10% code to get a bonus. So did you use the 10% off code to get your bonus as well?
Oh yeah, man. DMV Mess Hall. And we actually have a couple of listeners that sent us some screenshots of them using that 10% code. So I really appreciate that. And I know I'm going to need it next week for training camp, because first day's Thursday? I plan on being out there driving from downtown DC, getting stuck in that traffic. So I'm going to need some Don't Sleep energy to make sure I'm okay when I'm hanging out there in that heat with you during training camp.
Oh, we're definitely going to be in the house together. And so both of us, I wonder, can we both put in 10% at the same time and get 20% off? Let's I don't know if we can try that or not. But hey guys, seriously though, Don't Sleep energy drink, put in for your 10% code, DMV Mess Hall. It'll give you a break. It's great energy drink. You'll love it, man. I can't wait for everything that's happening, as well as my energy drink. Can't wait.
And speaking of can't wait, last week we talked about the Washington Post article that came out that warned of a potential delay in the sale of the team. So Snyder's attorneys were complaining. More importantly, his sister, who was part owner, was complaining, and she wasn't willing to agree to the indemnification of the other owners from liability in regards to the John Gruden emails. There was a Don Van Natta article from ESPN that kind of detailed the entire thing. So a lot of people were like, all right, we talked about, double Dutch. Is it happening? What's going on type of thing? Good news is attorneys for the NFL and Snyder reached an agreement on Monday that resolved the remaining legal issues that threatened to complicate the sale approval tomorrow. So they're not talking about how the issues were resolved. All they're saying is a person familiar with it said that the league and Snyder are satisfied with the outcome, and this thing is happening tomorrow. All of you out there, I'm assuming you're listening to this, it is tomorrow now because we're recording this on Wednesday. It's supposed to happen probably around the 3:00 time frame, Eastern Standard Time. So if you're listening to this first thing in the morning, I wish I still had some 4th of July fireworks left. It's just, I want to just set off so many fireworks and just let out the biggest scream of joy once that, I'm assuming it's going to be like an Adam Schefter tweet or something that comes out that the sale is final, because on Monday, this past week, the NFL Finance Committee held a unofficial poll and the results were unanimous. They unanimously agreed to approve the sale of the team to Josh Harris. So now officially, all they have to do is get these owners together on Thursday. They fly into Minnesota. And by the way, why would you choose to fly to Minnesota? You got private jets. These guys can fly anywhere. Why in the world are they meeting in Minnesota in July? There got to be nicer places where they can conduct this business meeting. That part just does not make sense to me.
Well, maybe they wanted to pay homage to the purple guy, and they're on a tour of his house and said, why not? Let's just all meet up there and 2000 party over. Oops, out of time. You know what I mean? It could be there, bro.
That's possible. I didn't think about it that way. I was thinking, because this has been a roller coaster, they might just go to the Mall of America and ride that thing. But it just, I'd go to Key West, go out to Santa Barbara, someplace that you can park your private jets. But Minnesota, no offense to Kirk Cousins, but I've been watching that Netflix documentary. Sorry, it doesn't make me want to hang out there, even though I am glad that they are getting together and looks like this thing is not getting delayed. And they're expecting the sale to close as soon as Friday.
Hey, we love it. And, there are a lot of events that are going on around town. One is downtown and the other's at the stadium. I mean, this is so huge. I wonder what that fan that's in Nova Scotia or Liverpool, what are they doing? You know what I mean? I love to know, we know what we're going to be doing here. What's that fan far away going to be doing? That's the question that I have, man.
Well, we actually asked for a couple of calls, and I got a couple of fans that aren't local that want to chime in. Let me play this one for you.
Nice.
Good afternoon, fellas. This is David Calhoun from Connecticut.
Okay.
And I am seriously contemplating coming down for the Pep Rally at Fedex on Friday to personally thank the new ownership for buying our beloved team. I hope I can make it happen. If I can't, I will be there in spirit and celebrating all across Connecticut on Friday. Thank you and have a great day. Hail!
That's awesome, man. I mean,
Yeah.
The guy's in Connecticut. He wants to drive down here to Connecticut just to go to Fedex Field, because those that don't know, the team is hosting they're calling it a training camp pep rally at Fedex Field on Friday the 21st at 1 p.m. This ain't a training camp pep rally, man. This is a buy damn pep rally.
It's a celebration.
they can't say it on official team paper because he still owns the team when they're trying to actually, get the word out on this thing. But this is get your ass out. You're gone. Let's all come together and celebrate. It's just funny to me that they're doing this on Friday at 1:00, where most people are going to be working. But if you're like Rally and me and a bunch of our listeners, you're probably calling out Snyder on Thursday and Friday to attend some of these parties that we're talking about.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious. But hey, to the last drop. What is it, like Folgers to the last drop or whatever it is? They gotta stay true to it. So that's hilarious. I never even looked at it. I never even thought about it like that. But it is what it is. And so my hats off to you guys for keeping it true until the last T is crossed and the last I is dotted.
I mean, how long have we been fans of this team, man? I remember the year after Snyder took over, he started charging money for training camp, right? They have never had a training camp pep rally ever. So it's going to be hosted by Fred Smoot, Logan Paulson, special appearances by John Allen, a couple of Washington legends, the Command Force, and Major Tuddy. To me, I have a feeling that Josh Harris is probably going to be there.
Oh yeah.
I got a feeling that Magic is going to be there, and that the new ownership group is going to be there. So if you can get out there on Friday, just tell your boss, I've suffered for 24 years. I am taking all that time to call out on Friday so I can go to Fedex Field and be there and give these guys a round of applause for rescuing us from this hell that we have been put through for so long. Because I'm going to try and see if I can make it out there. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to be out there, but I do know that some of our listeners will be. And hats off to all of you, because we need to welcome these guys in with open arms.
Yeah. I actually think that they would want to be there because they know what we as fans have been through and have suffered through. So I think that it's going to be just a smile to their face, knowing that, hey, they just made the biggest purchase of their lives. Normally they say a house is your biggest purchase. Well, no, this is bigger than anybody's house. Well, Fedex Field, I guess, is our house. So I guess you could say that it's on par. But they want to know who is actually buying their product. And I think they want to shake their hand if they allow us to get that close to them, to say thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm them, I might be a little scared to get that close to people, considering, because imagine how many people are just going to break down in tears. And some that don't know how bad it's been might not believe me when I say that, but grown men are going to cry when this thing is done. And
yeah,
you and I talked off air about this, but I've been getting messages from Dan Snyder fans, people that actually like the guy. And, out of respect for them, I will not mention their names, but believe it or not, there are still some people out there that don't think what he did was horrible. And we tried to brainstorm and think of a couple of things, because everyone's been talking about the bad things he's done. And those are very, very well documented. I actually wanted to ask you about the Mary Jo White report. They're talking about this thing being released fairly soon once the lawsuit's done. Do you care if the report gets released, or will you even pay attention if the report's released after the sale?
I'll say this, Ted. I care about the women that were affected by this whole thing. And I hope that they get their just due. Other than that, once it's signed and it's done, I don't care. I really don't. I want the women that were subjected to the things that they were subjected to be taken care of. And after that, that they're done with taking care of them. Whatever you say, what else can we say about the guy? I mean, unless they're just going to come out with some other just shocking news that we hadn't heard of, but for the most part, we've heard what 9/10 of it already.
Yeah.
So I don't think they can shock us anymore. So I really don't care. Just take care of what needs to be taken care of for the young ladies that were affected by this. And
Well, there are men that
hopefully-
were affected too, not just ladies, but yes, I'm
this
1,000%
is
on
true.
board with you. 1,000%.
true.
And I agree with you. And I was worried that this thing wasn't going to get released in the near future because Snyder refused to meet with Mary Jo White.
Hmm.
So this entire time she's been trying to get a hold of him, trying to meet with him. Well, his yacht is, I think, off the coast of Italy. Last time the yacht tracker was talking about it online a couple hours ago. Well, it turns out that Snyder actually met with Mary Jo White. And that headline got completely missed. No one talked about it. It was a small blurb in a Washington Post article from Mark Maskey and Nikki Javala saying it wasn't clear Monday how cooperative Snyder was in answering the questions of Mary Jo White's team, but it believed to occur this month. So that was the last step in Mary Jo White releasing her report. From my standpoint, once that man is gone and the papers are signed, the only time I ever want to hear the word Snyder used is when someone's offering me a pretzel. That's it. But I do agree with you that I want to hear that justice is served for, Megan Inbert. I want to say was a friend of mine.
Hmm.
Brad Baker was a friend of mine. They have since set their eyes on me and attacked me because I have not turned my back on the team. But on top of that, Jason Friedman, I still consider a friend. And
Yeah.
did you hear about the lawsuit?
Yeah.
So,
And
sure.
I was going to say that. So obviously we don't know everyone 100%. But when I did talk to Jason, to me, he was a stand-up guy. He just seemed a straight shooter. So I have to believe what he says. I mean, I just do because of what the conversations that we've had while he was employed and even after he was employed. I mean, the conversation that we've had. So I have to side with what he's saying until otherwise I'm going to go with what he said.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And for those of our listeners that aren't familiar, Jason Friedman, he was a former VP of sales and customer service for the team. The guy worked for the team for 24 years. He bled burgundy and gold. He still loves this team.
Mm-hmm.
It is just still too raw for him to come back. He would shave HTTR into the side of his head before games and just do different stuff. And this was a vice president of sales. He worked his dream job. He worked for the team. Well, back in 2020, the House Oversight Committee sent a 20-page letter to the FTC, which is kind of what started all this. Friedman was interviewed by that committee. He told them that Snyder kept, and the team, 2 sets of books. One set of financial records that were underreporting ticket revenue to the NFL. Most of our listeners know this, but some that are just jumping on board don't. On top of that, $5 million or so was being withheld in security deposits for season ticket holders, and it wasn't given back to them. Since then, the team responded and said they categorically denied any suggestion of financial impropriety of any kind at any time. The Commanders also said we adhere to strict internal processes that are consistent with industry and accounting standards, are audited annually by a globally respected independent auditing firm, and are also subject to regular audits by the NFL. The team also responded to Mr. Friedman's allegations, publicly calling him a liar, accusing him of committing federal crime of perjury, and falsely implying that he was terminated as part of the team's sexual harassment scandal that was being widely reported in the press. Fast forward, DC's Attorney General, Maryland's Attorney General, Virginia's Attorney General, all came after the team because of the security deposit debacle. The team has since settled with Maryland and DC out of court, not admitting fault, but they settled. Why would they settle? Because this is already in the news. You're already getting your name dragged through the mud if what Mr. Friedman said was categorically false.
You wouldn't settle.
I wouldn't think you would. If someone is coming at me with just a flat out lie saying, I wore a Tony Romo jersey, I'm going to flat out say, there's no way in hell that you would have ever caught me doing that, because I will never wear silver and blue. I could care less. You know, they categorically denied it. But if a picture comes out, then hey, well, Mr. Friedman's lawyers are now suing the Commanders and the team's attorney at the time, saying that the team's false statements about Mr. Friedman, which it has repeated or caused to be repeated in various public forums, have devastated him personally and professionally. He suffers from severe anxiety and depression, will require ongoing medical treatment, and has been unable to find a comparable job due to the team's deliberate and malicious destruction of his reputation. It requests a jury trial and says Friedman is seeking $7.5 million in compensatory damages and $350,000 in punitive damages, plus interest, attorney's fees, expenses, costs, and other damages the court deems proper. More power to you, Jason. I'm standing behind you, man. And I hope you get everything that you deserve, because trying to be unbiased here, but I know Jason as a person and his family for the past 20 plus years. I've been a season ticket holder, and I'm sorry, I believe Jason when he comes out with this. And the team is saying, they say the complaint is completely without merit and will vigorously defend the team against these false allegations. But those fans out there that want to judge him because they see the dollar amount he's trying to come after, you guys don't know Jason. What the team put him through, I can't imagine them doing that to me or to you. Something that we love to the bottom of our hearts, and just completely tear us down and blame things on us that were just categorically false, some of these allegations. And I hope that justice is served in regards to the Mary Jo White report, in regards to the Friedman lawsuit. And I hope that the truth comes out. That's really all I want to hear about Dan once this thing is done and the ink is dry come tomorrow.
Ted, it reminds me of what you said about, people who don't know throwing up stuff. We get it all the time on social media, the people who don't know us and who want to throw shade at us, and they don't know us. And we always would say, hey, instead of talking bad about us, get to know us, and your tone will probably change. Well, that's what that shows me. They don't know the guy, and they're just trying to throw mud and see if it sticks. And at some point in time, that mud is going to be thrown back onto you. And if it sticks, you're the one who's going to truly have mud on your face.
And I think the team actually said, and I'm paraphrasing here, I heard this in a podcast, that they actually said, if Jason Friedman doesn't believe it, come sue us. And he is. And I haven't actually put an Instagram post up since June. It's actually been over a month. And I was just looking back and seeing that. I haven't been on social media a ton lately, posting stuff other than a couple of retweets and stuff for the show, because I've been kind of tired of all the toxicity out there on social media. And it kind of takes it wears you down a little bit. And hey, you and I say bring that upon ourselves because of the public personas that we have, just because of supporting this team. And you doing your rallies and going to all the games. I'm trying to do some of the charity stuff around town. And I've got an announcement that I'm going to be allowed to talk about come August for a special I did on TV with a famous guy. And since then, I've needed to take a little bit of a break and a hiatus. But best be sure, we talked about Don't Sleep Energy at the beginning of this. I feel rejuvenated, kind of without being corny, once all this stuff just goes through. And it's almost like you're washing yourself clean of just this stench that you've been surrounded by and this hatred from our fellow fans. Like, B. Mitch and Finley were talking about the other day, like, what does Dan selling finally mean to you? And I replied back, said, it means that we finally have A, hope as a fan base, but B, it means that the fan base can actually come back together again, that we won't chastise our burgundy and gold brothers and sisters for supporting the same team that we all love.
Hallelujah.
I mean,
Hallelujah, brother.
I know you get it. We've talked about it before. Like, people will come attack you and come attack me because we are putting money in his pocket. No, I am going out there to support Terry McLaurin. I'm going out there to support Jahan Dotson. I'm
Yes,
going
sir.
out there to support, Rocky McIntosh from back in the day and whoever it may be. That's why I was still showing up. And when our own players made comments that they preferred playing at away games than home games, that's why I still went to home games.
Yeah.
And to me, Snyder selling this team means that we can finally heal as a fan base and come together, which we have not done since Sean Taylor passed away, in my opinion.
Agreed. And that's I'm at a loss for words, man, because the time has come, and we have people who are fans in England, London, and they'll be at the first game because they want to be a part of this. Everyone has talked so bad about the organization, and I'm not gonna retread all that stuff. They've talked bad about it, and now the time has come for it all to be gone. It's almost like if you are in the church, you got baptized, and once they say once your head goes underneath that water and you come back up, you are cleaned. So we're about to be clean, and we will be starting from zero, folks. So what's going to be your excuse now? I better not hear any. What I better hear is, I should say better. What I hope to hear is, hey, Rally, I can't wait to see you at a game. Hey, Tailgate Ted, I can't wait to come to one of your tailgates, man, and see what I've been missing for these last who knows how many years that you decided to check out. That's what I want to hear.
And even if these fans don't want to go to FedEx, because FedEx, let's be honest, it isn't the best stadium out there. It's got problems. And I'm hoping that the Harris Group invests money in it. Go to an away game with Rally.
Yeah.
Go hit up sbevents.net. Go with him and show your support on the road. Maybe we invade someone else's stadium instead of our stadium getting invaded. The amount of fun you have on the road supporting this team is like no other. And it's just because you're surrounded by a bunch of fans in enemy territory and you're having a damn good time. You let the players speak for it on the field, and they appreciate you, A, spending your hard-earned dollars because they know it ain't cheap traveling and doing all this stuff, but B, being there and just representing. So if you don't want to go to FedEx, hop on a bus with him up to Philly. Head on down with me down to Atlanta, and let's support these guys, because being realistic, I don't think we're going to have a winner this year. I don't think we're making the playoffs this year. That's just me. But that doesn't change the fact that this team still needs our support. Because just like you said, who are you going to blame now? A lot of people were blaming, I'm not going to do it because Dan's here, or this and that. Or the team is not good because Dan handpicked Dwayne Haskins. Rest in peace. Dan kicked out Brad Johnson and brought in Jeff George because he wanted his own fantasy football team. Dan brought in Deion Sanders and Bruce Smith here and paid all these high-priced free agents. Well, you know what? You got no one to blame anymore. You kind of can't hide behind that Snyder shield, if you will, and say, hey, we sucked because of this. Now we'll see if the cream does really rise to the top. And I know from my end, it's not going to change my fandom. I was in a text thread we mentioned earlier with some employees of the family, said I did not become a fan because of Jack Kent Cooke. I did not stop being a fan because of Daniel Snyder. And I will continue to be a fan regardless of how the Harris, Rails, Magic, and 15 other people handle this franchise. And I know you're going to be right there beside me.
No doubt about it, brother. No doubt about it. All that other stuff, it means nothing to me. What means the most to me is we've got new ownership, and the football team is actually going in, I feel, a better direction. So everything starting in 2023 as of 7/20 is on its way up. It's on its way up. We can only go higher and higher from this point, and I am appreciative of that, and I can't wait. Like you said, hey, you know what? Hypothetically, and I don't want this, we could go 0-17. We really could, but
Ain't gonna matter though.
no, it's not. And what do I always say? 0-17 or 17-0. I rep this burgundy and gold to the day I'm dead and cold. And I mean that. I wouldn't like it, but if that's how it needs to be to rebuild, I'm with it. Because we've been through some very lean years with the bad guy. So now let's focus on the good things and go up with the new guys.
Oh yeah. And who was that quarterback everyone's talking about coming out? If we go 0-17, I mean, is it Caleb Williams?
It's yours from Texas.
It was okay. Is that the guy? I don't know.
Yeah. It's yours from Texas.
We got a chance of getting a good quarterback. I don't know. From my standpoint, new ownership is going to have a pass for the next, I want to say, 2 years.
Ooh, really?
To me, this year is a limbo year. I've said it before. We're stuck with Ron Rivera. Snyder wasn't going to fire him because he was going to have to pay him out of his pocket. New ownership isn't going to fire him because it's too late and the season is right around the corner. My bold prediction, I don't think Rivera is going to make it through the season. I think that Eric Bieniemy is going to take over because Rivera's teams historically start off slow, and they want to see what Eric Bieniemy has as a head coach. So we'll see if that's right or not. But regardless, I don't think Rivera's here next year. So new ownership is going to have to find a brand new GM. And I hope that GM will get to pick his coach and not vice versa. And then we're come year 3. That's when I want to start seeing results. But until then, they get a pass because it can't get worse. We got a F grade from the NFLPA. Players don't want to come here because of the amenities or lack thereof at the facility. These guys are going to pump money into something that has not had money infused in it in quite some time.
Ted, man, do you feel, okay, that's your opinion. Do you feel the fan base can handle 2 years, a 2-year pass? I don't think that the fan base, I mean, they're not going to have a choice but to accept it if that's the case. But I don't think the fan base can realistically wait 2 years, man. I really don't.
It's been 24. It has been 24 years. We have not won 11 games since 1991. Right? We are the only team that hasn't won 11 games in that time span. So those fans that saying that they can't handle 2 years, sorry, but being a fan of this team is not an easy thing. It is not for the faint of heart. And there are a lot of fans that jump ship that you talked about it earlier. They're wearing purple now, and it's not because of Prince. You know, they're sitting there doing their Raven dance up in Baltimore now, even though they live in Southeast DC. So for those people that can't wait, goodbye. And
Ooh.
when we do start to win again in a couple of years, welcome back.
Oh, so you're going to welcome them back?
Yeah, they leave. I
Okay.
could care less. But to me, you're a fan of this team, just like you like to say, and I'll Venmo you $1. You rep it hard or you don't rep it at all. And to me, if you can't stomach it, don't rep it at all.
Okay. All right. Because I have heard people say, I choose not to rep it at all. I have heard people say that. So I'm amongst the few, the proud, that if you left, stay. Don't come back now because
Really?
hypothetically we're don't come back now because hypothetically we're 9-0 or 6-0. No, because to me, your true character is when things are really thick, you stick in it.
Yeah.
That's just me. I don't. Everybody wants the shiny new object, the shiny new toy, but when things are bad, what did you do? And if you chose to roll out, hey, I hate that you did it, but I understand why you did it, and I'm not going to hold it against you. But you left. The door's closed. You can't come back.
I got you. I see it. I understand where you're coming from. I'm shocked though, because to me, we're a family, right? There are members of your family you may not agree with. Maybe they voted one way and you voted the other way. And we all know how divided this country is and our culture is and this fan base is. I guess for me, I look at it a little bit differently. We may not have agreed and you may have left for whatever reasons because you didn't want to put money in his pockets. You did not agree with the lawsuits. You could not look your kids in the eye knowing the sexual harassment and the allegations that the team was being accused of. You could not look at your daughter supporting this team, because I have people that would tell me that. How can you expect me to support a team and an owner where these sexual harassment allegations are coming, and I've got daughters that potentially could have happened to? And I agree with you 100%. And if those were your reasons for not supporting it, I'm not going to hate on it. Just know that we held down the fort while you were gone. And I will welcome you back, regardless if we're 6-0, because to me, we fire up that bandwagon. We bring this fan base back to what it was, the #1 fan base in the NFL that was unrivaled. And that is where we need to get back to, is the stands bouncing up and down again. The away team fans paying thousands of dollars to get in because our fan base did not sell tickets. And we need every single person in this area to jump back on board. I don't care where they were the past couple of years. I just want them back now, if they truly can stomach it.
So you're telling me that hypothetically, and I get you as far as those things that you said, if they stop being a fan of football, period. But I guess my thought process is you bought jerseys, paraphernalia, the whole 9 yards. That's your new team. That's your new team now. Now, if you stopped being a Redskins, Commanders, Washington football team fan because of that, and you didn't hypothetically adopt any team, and you just put us on the shelf, a hiatus, all right, I'm cool with that. But once you decide to hypothetically go to the Cowboys, or you decide to go to the Eagles,
you
or
can't choose that.
you decide to go to New England. Okay, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is your new team, and you can view us from the outside of the house. That's just me, brother, and I stick to that.
So I hear you. So it's not the exact same, but we didn't have a baseball team here for a long time, right?
True.
It was the Orioles. I never grew up being an Orioles fan. I was a Braves fan growing up because they were on TV.
Yep.
But do you blame those Orioles fans that are now Nationals fans because we got a team here? but yet they had all that Orioles gear. And it's not like the Orioles did them wrong. They didn't have the scandals. They weren't brought in front of the House Oversight Committee. They didn't have all these allegations. They just jumped ship because now there's a new team in town that was not winning. They just wanted to support a new team. Do you blame those fans?
No, I don't blame them, and I chalk it up to North Carolina fans who were Redskin fans back in the day before they got the Panthers. They were our squad, but a team came in, and it wasn't the fact that they didn't like us, because we were still riding high when the Panthers came in for the most part. But now all of a sudden, I've got a team that's closer. I don't blame them for that. I don't blame them for that. You know, we didn't have a team. Carolinas didn't have a team. They have a team now. So now, you know what? For the people that lived in North Carolina, they would always tell me, hey, I always view the Commanders or the Burgundy and Gold, but my team now is the Panthers, but I still like to see the Commanders do well. So I don't have a problem with that. I still want to see Baltimore do well, although the Nats are my team, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. Some people have an AFC team and an NFC team. And to me, and I think it's different for you and me because we don't play fantasy football.
No.
That's just not in our blood. It's just not something we do. But some people, you know, you see little kids. I've got friends that are, you know, they're teachers. They see kids in, you know, Eagles jerseys because Jalen Hunt or whatever his name is on TV and he's kicking ass or he's doing good in fantasy football, you know, Lamar Jackson. So to me, I see parents adopting other teams that they could actually watch with their kids, that they could actually root for because the teams were winning and they jumped on the bandwagon at that point. And I could never wear another team's gear. Even when I went to Tampa Bay, it was actually just a Bucks game that I went to with Mrs. Tailgate because she's from there and we were on a bye week. I still refused to put on that creamsicle jersey, even though they were honoring Doug Williams. But investing money and buying that stuff, for me, I know we're going around in circles. Come with the tailgate, welcome you with open arms. Just know that there's a donation jar right there and we don't do it for free. And maybe bring me that jersey and we can have a bonfire out front of Fedex Field with all your old gear. Maybe for the December game or something like that, we can try and roast some s'mores over all that other gear you guys bought when you weren't repping Burgundy and Gold.
All right, come on back. That's I will side eye you. I'll welcome you back, but I'll side eye you.
You'll take their cash if they're hopping on a bus with you to Philly, though.
By the way, we're almost sold out of that thing, so I'm happy to say that, man. I'm really happy to say that we're gonna in our own way take over that green and white with Burgundy and Gold for our section, and I can't wait.
I'm contemplating pulling the trigger, man. I got to see what's going on. But we have another voicemail from another listener, Mark Midnight, talking about how he's going to celebrate Dan finally selling the team.
Cool. Let's hear Mark.
Hi, this is Mark McKnight, born and raised in Washington, D.C. I'm going to celebrate Danny Snyder selling the team by throwing a tailgate party in my backyard in Las Vegas. Have a good day.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, we got a guy from Connecticut listening, A, and B, representing Burgundy and Gold out there. Mark, thank you for calling in, leaving us a voicemail, representing out in Vegas. Considering you got the Raiders out there, everything else, you know, hats off to you, man. And a man after my own heart talking about having a tailgate party in his backyard. Do me a favor and take some pictures of that. And it is also like 100-something degrees out there. There's zero chance I am doing a tailgate in a backyard in Vegas right now.
Oh, man. But don't you become kind of conditioned to your area? So if you live out in Vegas and it's 100 and something out there, don't you kind of get conditioned a little bit? Just a little bit?
It's 110 degrees right now in Vegas. I don't care how conditioned you are. hot is hot, man. And imagine standing over top of a grill in 110-degree heat. No, there's no way. I'm sorry. I'll let someone else cook for me, or I'll celebrate inside a casino, maybe at a sports bar or something.
Oh man, you just let the sun go down, man.
It's going to be interesting, man. And I remember the team saying that they wanted to announce our new name on 2/2/22 on the Today Show because we're a global brand. And if anything, our listeners represent that. We've got people in Germany, Japan, Italy, just all over the world.
Oh yeah.
We got a couple people that just chimed in here. And this is not just going to be a ridiculous celebration in the DMV come Thursday and this weekend. It's going to be all over and people are going to hear it. But you heard how I'm going to celebrate. How are you going to celebrate him selling the team?
First off, I am going to pop a cold one. Don't know what cold one it's going to be, but it's going to be an adult beverage. First off, okay, that's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to pop a cold adult beverage, and then I'm going to hopefully be able to look out and see other Burgundy and Gold members doing the exact same thing. Okay. So that tells you I plan on being amongst other fans and just hugging, giving dap, and telling stories, man.
Yeah, man. I'm trying. It's kind of, we started the show with me getting choked up and getting goosebumps talking about our friend. And I'm starting to have those same emotions come back again because it's starting to hit home, man, that this thing is finally going to be done. And I just cannot wait to be around you, our fellow fans, man. If you guys can, come to that first day of training camp on the 27th. We're going to be out there. Let's get together, not at the quote unquote Team Pep Rally and all that's happening. Let's be out there and support these players and come together as a fan base. And I think B. Mitch today on his show with JP Finley on The Fan kind of said it the best. It's a Sale-a-Bration going on right now. And a sale, S-A-L-E-Bration going on, man.
It. A Sale-a-Bration.
And let's just take those good vibes all the way into tomorrow, into the weekend, and into the season, man, because it's a new era that's dawning. And I cannot wait to go through this with our Burgundy and Gold brothers and sisters.
Yes, indeed. I can't wait. And I hear the music, which lets me know that we are bringing another episode of the DMV Mess Hall to an end. Don't forget, guys, no matter where you are, we appreciate you tuning in for this time to listen to Tailgate Ted and Rally Captain. You rep it hard, or you don't rep it at all. Rally Captain, Tailgate Ted. We'll see you later this week. We're out.